Hello, in this program, we are going to move on to week two. We're going to see how to um, read input, how to define different data types. Okay, so let's create a new project. We'll call it week two. So we're going to do a console app, and we want to call it week two and create. So we can put all of our week two projects in here. Okay, so under source files, it creates one for week two. I am going to rename that to data types and input. Okay, that's what we're going to call it. Okay, and it has all this information. I also have some information about what we want to do here. So what we are going to do is this is actually one of the Xylabs, and I'm going to take that and we're going to modify that. So let me do my multi-line comment here. So we can let me take this out. Okay, so we are going to use this prompt, and we are going to see how to work with different data types and how to read input from the user. Okay. So what we're going to do here is it says we're going to estimate the calories burned when exercising. So it gives us the formula that we need to use. We are going to get 4 different types of input from the user: the age, weight, heart rate, and time. Okay, and then we're going to calculate women, the number of calories burned by women, number of calories burned by men. Okay, and so in this, we want to see how to do the formatting. Let's just see how to actually do the calculation. Okay, so if the input is this, what would our answer be? That's what we're going to see. Okay, so data types, starting with, let's decide what data types we would want to use for these things that we're going to read from the user. We need to do 4 things. We need to read 4 things from the user. And hopefully you've already read about data types from Zybooks. So just to make it easy, I'm going to use my namespace up here. I'm going to include it. And we're not going to be doing hello world. We're already done with that. Okay, age, weight. So let's start with age. What data type would we want to use for that? I'm going to make my age an int. So int age equals 0. And then we have weight, which I'm going to make double. So double weight equals 0. It's always a good habit to initialize your variables as you declare them. Then we have heart rate and time. So I'm also going to make heart rate and time integers. So heart rate equals 0, time, let's call it, don't call it time. Some are reserved words and I don't want to quite use that. Let's call it exercise time, because this is about exercising. Exercise time equals 0. Okay, so we have 4 inputs that we're going to read from the user. Now we also need some variables to calculate some outputs. So women calories and men calories, and those would be doubles. So men calories equals 0, women calories equals 0. Okay, my setup is done. I've created all the variables, declared them, initialized them. So let's add a comment here that says variables. Let's add another comment now saying user input. How do we want to read input from the user? So prompts are very important. So if I want them to output everything separately, then I'm going to say enter your age. That's the first prompt. Okay, then the user enters age, so we read it using cin and the extraction operator like that. Okay, then we ask them to enter your weight, and again make sure that you have the right amount of spacing. So cin weight, we read the weight from the user. Then you ask them to enter your, what is the next input that we want to ask them? Heart rate. Enter your heart rate while exercising. This is not spelled right. Exercising. Okay, maybe it's spelled Okay, then you do cin, what do we call it? Heart rate. Heart rate. And the next one would be enter the time spent, this time spent exercising, because otherwise that won't make any sense. Okay, cin, and now here's another way. You can always copy it and paste it, makes for less errors. So there's all your input that we've read. Now for the calculations, and here's where I'm going to come here and copy that whole line, and I'm going to change a few things. Don't forget to change things after you copy them. So I'm going to say, what did we call our variable? Women calories. So I'm going to say women calories equal, and this is called age. And make sure you have your spacing correctly. And sometimes the minus signs, they're not actual minus signs. So you want to make sure you replace all of them. That minus sign was a dash, so minus. And the weight has a lowercase w. So you fix that. This is an X. I need that to be an asterisk. So if you're going to copy, please replace all of them. I like to do that because they are not quite the same characters that we think they are. So heart rate gets replaced with that variable. Again, it's an asterisk. That's not a minus. Put in a minus, and almost there. This is not an asterisk. And we call this exercise time. So replace that with exercise time and end with a semicolon. And I'd like to replace a backslash as well because I'm leery of that. Okay, there we go. That is women calories. Now on the next line, you're going to say men calories equals, and we go here. Now I'm going to go here from here to the end. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here. And we go through and change some of the variables again. Age, and you fix that. Weight, and you fix that. And heart rate. Now remember, it doesn't matter. It's just a formula that is different for men and women. The values that we read from the user are what they enter. So they would enter the values for heart rate and weight. And so if they enter for a female, then based on the calculation, it's going to show for both male and female. And they would just have to figure out from what they entered what it is, right? So it's all the same, except that there are some numbers that are changed. Notice all these factors are different between men and women. Okay, so that's it. Then we're done calculating. Now output to the user, the calculations, and you're going to say cout men calories, essentially calories burned by men is equal to, and you output men calories, and when it comes up, it shows you somewhere here. There's the variable name and line, and cout, say women calories equals, and women, there's that. You can hit tab and it will fill it in for you, and we finish it. So that's all they're asking you to do in that lab. Is essentially, it's an optional lab, it doesn't matter. I just use that as an exercise. So how you declare different data types, right? How you figure out what data types you want to use. You declare them, you initialize them, you read them from the user. So you read them all on separate lines. I'll show a couple of other ways to read them as well. Then you build this thing and you run it. And you make sure you check some of your answers with your calculator to make sure we get the right answers. So it says enter my age. Let's say 60, not 560, 60. Enter your weight, 100. Oops, that was too low. Okay, I went to, let's try it again. How about 50 minutes? Okay, so it says that's the number of calories burned. Okay, so you get the idea. Now, a couple of other things. As you're reading input, okay, this is one way to read input. What if I wanted to read a couple of things on the same line instead of all these prompts? You can say enter your age and weight separated by a space. How How do you do that? If you do that, how do I read it? So this, I'm going to comment out these two lines because I'm going to read them all on the same line. So you can do age and weight all in the same line. But you have to make sure that your prompts are entered accordingly. Now, this is what you would be doing for your assignment number 1, where I ask you to make sure you do it this way. Okay, so if you build this, the program should work very similar to what it did before. But when you type in these two things, it says enter your age and weight separated by space. Then you put in your age, space, weight. And I think the weight was the one where I had a double. So you could put in 120.5. And then it says enter your heart rate. So if you enter 120 and the time spent is 100 minutes, then it says that's the number of calories burned. Okay, and so in this we haven't done any formatting or anything like that, but that is essentially data types. Now you can also, since we're talking about data types, let's add a data type string. We've used strings. Let's use string name, which would require me to include the string header file. So let me add that there, string. So I'm going to have string name. You can ask them just for information purposes, enter your name, and let's say they enter their name. Now, if you're going to read name without spaces, you can read it like that. And then when you're outputting, you can output cout, you can say hello, and you want to output their name, and you want to say, you can put a couple of exclamations, and then say welcome to my calorie calculator or something like that. So it's just a message that comes up, a friendly message. Okay, that just shows you how to use a string variable. Okay, so you read it up here and you use it down here. And it says enter your name and then my age and weight separated by space, the heart rate, the number of minutes, and then it's personalized now. That's all it is. Okay, so that's about data types and input.